Yes. That's right. That's right. That's right. That is right. Yes. Give it up. Give it up. If you are, in fact, within an earshot of my melodious voice, my most melodious voice, then that can only mean one thing and one thing only, folks. You are in tune for another glorified, dignified, funkified episode of the one and only Dignified Bastard Podcast. Give it up. Give it up. Yeah. We back off in this thing, man. We back off in this thing. I am your host for this afternoon's hour of power. My name is the Junkyard Jedi. Yes. Give it up for your boy. I'm back up in here, man. That's right. For the new year. Give it up. We off in here. That's right. That's right, Mike. We back, man. We are back. I am expressing nothing but the highest level of gratitude to be back off in this thing, man. I woke up today. I am healthy. I am breathing. Yeah. That's just a deep breath for gratitude, man. I'm thankful for being able to take a deep breath. So many of us did not wake up this morning. So many of us did not make it to the quote unquote new year. All right. We never want to forget those who have passed on in the recent months. Andre Brower, Richard Roundtree. You dig what I'm saying? Old boy from Starsky and Hutch, dude name was David Soul. Ain't that a name for you? David Soul. Yeah, what's the spiritual meaning behind that? You dig? But yeah, we gonna get into some things, man. I'm glad to be here. You know what I'm saying? I was a little hesitant about coming back, man. You know what I mean? Because it's just so much going on. And you know how I do, man. You know how I do. You know, I wait for the quote unquote smoke to clear. I wait for things to blow over before I even decide to even speak on them, man. Because, you know, there's so much, banter and online discourse, if you will, going back and forth, up and down, all around about, you know, whatever. But we going to talk about it, right? We going to talk about some things, all right? Try not to get too deep off into, you know, what they mean per se. I'm just going to, you know, touch on them about, you know, what they are and what they mean to me, what I noticed based off of my individual observation. You dig what I'm saying? As if, you know, to say, hey, I'm not an expert, but this is what it is. This is what I see. Okay. We're going to talk about Katt Williams. Katt Williams let's just get into it, man. Katt Williams set the internet ablaze recently with his interview with Shannon Sharp on Club Shay. Let's just talk about Club Shay. Shay sounds like that one chick in the hood that still suck her thumb. You dig what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Club Shay. She still suck her thumb. She got that one little ponytail in the top. You know what I'm saying? She probably got a lisp. But Shay cool people, man. Yeah, Katt Williams recently went on Club Shay and he just unleashed a verbal assault, if you will, on some other fellow comedians, as well as exposing some truths, right? Exposing some truths, which is in alignment with the year 2024, right? 2024. If you add up all the numbers in the year 2024, you're going to get the number 8, right? Number 8. So that makes this year a build or destroy year when it comes to supreme mathematics. You dig what I'm saying? So by building, right, By building, he's building on what? Truth. And by building on truth, he is doing what? Destroying or tearing down strongholds of falsehood, strongholds of miscommunication, strongholds of ego, right? Because 8, like I said, building or destroying. And we're going to get into a little bit of that, but we're going to keep going strong for right now about this whole Katt Williams thing. You know what I'm saying? First of all, the opinions and views expressed by the Dignified Bastard podcast are those of the Junkyard Jedi and mine alone. You know what I mean? I try not to lean too hard to one way or the other when it comes to these things, because, you know, there's always something to extract from these, quote unquote, happenings. Some people like to call them distractions. I don't know. Right. It depends on how you look at it. Right. In today's age, we need truth. Right. We need the exposure. We need shit to be blown up. Right. That's the only way you're going to bring a stronghold down, is to completely upheave it, to blow it up. Right. This is about building and destroying this year, right? So in order to destroy, or when we destroy something, we're breaking it all the way down. So let's break this thing all the way down, man. Let's break this thing all the way down. Katt Williams is a comedian, right? Comedy, laughter, it's good for the soul, right? We in the year 2024. That is a very high number when it comes to the soul plane, right? There's a bar right there. When it comes to the soul plane, 8 is a very active number on the soul plane, right? The 8-pointed star, right? The wheel of destiny, if I'm not mistaken, or the wheel of Dharma in Buddhism, has 8 points on it, right? Similar to, I don't know if anybody have seen the interview that Katt did. But he was wearing what? He was wearing that 8-pointed star, which is a very prevalent sign in Buddhism. Okay. Matter of fact, let's look up some information about that 8-pointed star. Yesterday was the 8th, right? Very appropriate. Also, yesterday was the birthday of the ancestor Noble Drew Ali. Shout out to the memory of Noble Drew Ali, right? Noble Drew Ali has one of my favorite quotes. You know, I'm a quote dude, so I'm a quote Noble Drew Ali. If I can just get you to think, you will free yourselves. Ain't that right, Mike? Indeed it is. So let's look up some information about this 8-pointed star while we get into this conversation about Mr. Katt Williams, who completely let the cat out of the bag. All right. You dig what I'm saying? Katt, we're dealing with feline, right? We're dealing with feline, feminine energy, right? So let's look up 8-pointed star. 8-pointed star meaning. Yes. I'm digging the vibes. Thank y'all for rocking out, man. Thank y'all for rocking out with your boy. All right. The 8-pointed star, also known as the octagram. Okay. All right. All about the 8-pointed star. Yes, let's get into it. The 8-pointed star. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got. All right, the 8-pointed star, folks. If you ever seen a compass, if you've ever used a compass, the compass actually is a form of the 8-pointed star. Okay. All right. It says here, in Asian countries, all right, such as Ukraine, the mallow or 8-pointed star is created by superimposing a straight cross, symbol of masculinity and the sun, and an oblique cross, symbol of femininity and the moon. The joining of these two entities naturally gives life. The full mallow is also known as the mother star. This is the symbol we often see in icons of the Virgin Mary. Okay. It's interesting but not surprising that a symbol for the source of life, fertility, and protection is related to femininity and used by women to decorate homes and household items. Every aspect of life used to be, and in some cases still is, devoted to a connection to spirituality, nature, and relationships. Ancient people understood that balance in life was dependent on and tied to the seasons, the cycles of the moon, and the life-giving sun. The overlapping 4-pointed stars combine to create the 8 and symbolize the balance of nature, the heavens and earth reflecting each other. Yes, I love it. All right, this is also known as, all right, in Persian history, this is also known as the star of the goddess Ishtar. She is said to represent the planet Venus. All right, we're talking about Aset in the Egyptian or Kemetic pantheon. All right, so this is very prevalent, man. This is very prevalent. This is also in alignment with, the quote unquote rise of feminine energy. Okay. So the interview with Katt, right, is also in alignment with the rise of feminine energy, because feminine energy is represented by the truth, right? By the truth on a deeper level, right? So with that being said, the truth on a deeper level when it comes to this Katt Williams thing is that everything will be exposed, right? Everything will be exposed, but it's not so much to pay attention to what Katt was saying about Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, and some of these other individuals. It's not about them, okay? Let me give you guys a cold, hard fact, okay? Ultimately, what we want to do, right? What we want to do ultimately, right? Just my opinion, is to stay away from celebrity worship, right? Even the fact that we call these people stars, quote unquote, is a bit of celebrity worship, right? And, we get caught up in the language. Language is a matrix just like anything else. Language is a part of the matrix just like anything else. These are the fake stars, right? Shout out to Dougie Fresh. The only stars I know was in the sky. You dig what I'm saying? That's one of his lines from one of his songs. But we are composed of stardust, right? So these people who we refer to as celebrities or stars, right, are not the real stars, so to speak. We are. Everyone is a star. Bootsy Collins, you know what I'm saying? Every nigga is a star. You dig what I'm saying? You are composed of stardust, right? The idea or the notion is that you enliven yourself, right, by realizing and recognizing the star power that you have. Each and every one of us has a soul. A soul is what? A star. So you are within yourself, within your physical vehicle. You are the star. You have a lot of star power that we're going to talk about tapping into. You dig what I'm saying? And tapping into that star power is telling your truth, right? All Katt did when he got on Club Shay, all Katt did, and shout out to Shannon Sharp, man, because I never knew Shannon Sharp had it in him like that to, you know what I'm saying, really have a platform available, right? Non-biased, right? Very non-biased. He didn't lean too hard on the fact that I'm sure some of the people that Katt was talking about, Shannon Sharp has a relationship with. He either knows them, knows of them, or he has met these folks, but he didn't lean too hard either way, right? He provided the cognac, he provided the platform, and he just let Katt cook. He let that man go in, and, you know, shout out to Shannon Sharp for that, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times what happens when these interviews or these conversations take place on these platforms, you know, people, especially, let's be honest, let's be real, right? When it comes to our quote unquote black entertainers, a lot of times when they get interviewed by folks, they don't want them to expose or to tell their particular brand of the truth, but gotta give it up to Shannon Sharp, man. He really let this man go in and get it off his chest like a bench press. And for someone who is an advocate for truth, I am a strong advocate for truth. You dig what I'm saying? I really appreciated that. But like I was saying, as far as Katt is concerned, this is just, once again, a spiritual testament to how we should be living our lives at this point. This is a build or destroy year, right? So we're going to see a lot of people who we thought were one way be exposed. This is coming right on the heels of the whole P. Diddy, the toppling of his star status, if you will, with that whole Cassie situation. He even brought that up, talking about P. Diddy and the party, and then P. Diddy want a party. And you gotta tell him no. You dig what I'm saying? So even that even that was brought into the conversation. Even that was brought to the forefront, to the front. You know, even that conversation came up, you know, talking about how P. Diddy has these parties, and, you know, Katt had already said it in the Pimp Chronicles, if I'm not mistaken, right, that, you know, he's been to these parties and he bore witness to how these parties go, how these individuals, I don't want to start naming names, right, because I don't know, I didn't go to none of these parties, I haven't been. But he did expose the fact that these parties, have some questionable things going on, right? Some questionable things happening at these parties. And we've heard the murmurs. You know, if you've been in these internet streets for a little while, if you've been in these social media streets for a little while, then you've heard the rumors, you've heard the tales, the freaky tales, shout out to Too Short, about how some of these parties go. Hey, they got whatever you like, right? They got whatever you like. You go into these parties, right? These big mansion parties, right? And they have a multitude of rooms. You understand what I'm saying? They have a multitude of rooms, and you can go in a room that, hey, maybe it's some girl action going on, right? Maybe it's some blow or whatever you like. You dig what I'm saying? Maybe you go into another room and it's, you know, it's a man slash animal thing. I don't know. I'm only assuming. I'm only using my imagination, but you know, I hear it get pretty wild. You know what I'm saying? And depending on who you are and what you're looking for and the star, quote unquote, star status that you are trying to achieve, you might delve off into some of these areas. You might delve off into some of these rooms, and you may or may not participate. It depends on your liking. All right. But what we need to be aware of as consumers or viewers bearing witness to, movies, celebrity status, and things of that nature, is that unfortunately the dark side of Hollywood, or the underbelly of what we know is Hollyweird or whatever, is that these people have certain things that take place, right? They have certain rituals, right? And see, these words are buzzwords within the spiritual community, but they also are real things, right? But don't get confused. The ritual, we all do rituals, right? Before I leave the house, I'm making sure that certain things are in certain pockets, right? I'm carrying stones that go in certain pockets because, I am creating, right? Or I am performing my own rituals, my own personal rituals. They participate in rituals in church. Every first Sunday when I was Christian, when I was going to a church, right? The ritual for first Sunday was what? Communion. Everybody knows this, right? You should, right? The crackers, the body of Christ. The wine or the grape juice is the blood, right? And you are to consume this, right? So that you are one, right, with the body of Christ and with the blood, you know what I mean? Significant or signifying the sacrifice that Yeshua made in order to absolve the sins of the world. You dig what I'm saying? That whole, if you believe in that, and I'm not faulting anybody, you believe what you believe, right? Because at this point in the year of 2024, it's all about truth. So I would be remiss if I would to get on here and say that there's not any truth in Christianity. There's truth in all religions. You dig what I'm saying? There's truth in all religions. You just have to find out what your truth is, right? And that's what this year is about. Finding your truth, your individual truth that is going to propel you into the positions and the places and spaces that you want to be in, right? All right. But yeah, going back to Katt, man, he just let that thing loose. He just fired off. And he was not shooting from the hip. And even though they was sipping on some cognac, I'm sure that cognac was very, very good. And as a connoisseur of brown liquor myself, right, I'm sure that cognac was very, very good. I'm not sure which one they was sipping on. I know I have my own personal preference, but that's neither here or there. That's that whole Pisces moon thing. You feel what I'm saying? You dig what I'm saying? I had me a little bit of brown cognac before I came on here, but that was just to open up the vibes. You dig what I'm saying? But they were sipping on that brown. They were sipping on spirits, right? They were sipping on spirit. And why were they sipping on spirits? Because, when somebody is sipping on them spirits, man, they more than likely are going to tap into some truth. You dig what I'm saying? They gonna give it up, right? How many times have you been around, that drunk uncle, or that drunk auntie that just, was like, you know what? I'm letting all the family secrets out. Fuck it. I'm letting all the family secrets out. Your Uncle Teddy, still suck his thumb when he go to sleep. You dig what I'm saying? But it's all good, though. It's all good because one thing for sure and two things for certain is that everything that we bear witness to with our physical eyes is just a physical or material manifestation of what's going on in the unseen arenas, the unseen realms, where truth, right, is absolute, right? Now here in the material world, in what we refer to as the 3D matrix or whatever, the truth is it's objective and it's subjective, right? At the same time, because it's a personal thing. Some of us were totally appalled by some of the things that Katt Williams said. Totally appalled, right? Due to our own personal preferences or our personal allegiances or alliance with some of the people that he was talking about. Some of us love Kevin Hart. Right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of us love Steve Harvey. I don't see how, but there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? And he talked about people stealing jokes from him and stealing material, and how they were trying to put him in dresses, or how he didn't sell out. And my opinion, once again, on those particular things is, hey man, it's the industry. It's the industry. And once again, what you have to realize is that these people have created certain allegiances to certain entities and energies that require for certain things to happen, because all of this is about energy, right? All of this is about energy. Do not get it twisted. It's still about energy, frequency, and vibration. And the vibration of truth, right? The vibration of truth, if you are to stand on that vibration of truth, if you're standing on business, you know what I'm saying, quote unquote, if you standing on business, then you have to be able to lay it all out. You have to be able to take the darts. You have to be able to take the hits, and you have to be able to say, you know what? This is what it is. This is what it is. Now, my opinion, as far as the whole getting in the dress thing, it's been done so much that it's oversaturated now, right? It's oversaturated now. I used to be one of these people who'd be like, oh, well, they just want to effeminize, right? And emasculate the quote unquote black male, right? Which I still agree with. But on the flip side, let's talk about theater, right? Because Hollywood is based on the fact that Shakespeare, right, is their man. You dig what I'm saying? Shakespeare is their god. Shakespeare is their guy. Willie Shakes, right? So when he was performing, or when he was in his heyday, right? When he was in his heyday and he was doing his thing, right? Men were playing the role of women. Now, this was because of a few things. Number one being, they ain't give a damn about women. They didn't. They ain't give a damn about women. Right? Women were considered subhuman, almost a subhuman species. Right? Property. Right? We saw that with The Color Purple, but we ain't gonna get into The Color Purple talk. Right? But we saw that in The Color Purple. Right? Where, you could damn near buy a chick or give a chick away at a young age, like 12, 13, and make her a wife and a mother. Right? She hasn't totally finishing developing as of yet, and she has to take on the role of wife and mother, right? But that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. But once again, going back to this Katt thing, I used to be one of those people that was banging the drum, saying like, "Oh man, they trying to put us in dresses, man. They got Wesley Snipes in the dress. They got Ving, all the big muscle bound motherfuckers. You dig? Big strong ass dudes in dresses and whatnot." And it looked, right, based on the visuals, based on the optics, it looked as if this was just severely an attack, right, on black male masculinity. But when you broaden your spectrum of observation, when you broaden your horizons, when you expand your consciousness a little bit, you see that, okay, that's just one piece of it. That's just one side of it. Right. The other side of it is that this is a theater thing. Right. They've been doing this for years. Robert De Niro, Dustin Hoffman. What's the boy who passed away, committed suicide? Real hairy dude. I used to fuck with him. Robin Williams made a great occult esoteric movie called What Dreams May Come. Right? He did the dress thing in Mrs. Doubtfire. Right? My man, I used to fuck with Patrick Swayze. He put him in a dress too. You dig what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where it's like, on the one end, yeah, we've struggled in America to establish some sort of footing, right, where we can safely, as black quote unquote black men, black people, especially black men, we can safely say, or we can boldly say that this is our stance as far as our masculinity is concerned. But that has always been on the chopping block, right? Now, could this be an ego thing? Because as a collective, as far as black men are concerned, right, we've never been able to establish, that we are but babies in this quote unquote American civilization, this American jungle that we refer to as the prison industrial complex, or the borders of the United States corporation. You dig what I'm saying? We have not been allowed the opportunity to fully embody what it is to be masculine without that shit being torn down at any given chance. Shout out to the spirit of Khalid Muhammad. Shout out to Louis Farrakhan, who, were very important, in showing us what manhood, what black manhood should look like, right? But they continue to chop away at that, right? They continue to slice that up at every opportunity. But once again, I don't ever recall Katt doing that. I don't ever recall Katt putting on a dress. And whether he did or he didn't, whether it was Flip Wilson, Jamie Foxx, Martin Lawrence, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, I don't care who, Kevin Hart, I don't care who it was. These people made choices that they felt like was necessary to push their career in whatever direction. Hey, all I know is you can be funny in the dress, you can be not funny outside the dress, and vice versa. It really doesn't matter. You dig what I'm saying? Because it's a business, right? That's what we forgetting. It is a business, right? And if you are chasing the check, you just doing it for the money, then putting on the dress, putting on some lipstick, putting on the wig, hey, it's just a costume. You dig what I'm saying? On a higher spiritual level, this meat suit that we're in is just a costume, because some of us are black on the outside, but we damn sure ain't black on the inside. You dig what I'm saying? And that right, Mike? Yeah. So what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean for 2008? I think what that means for 2008 is we are all going to have to take a long, hard look in the mirror and figure out who we are on the inside and not just who we are on the outside, right? Because this is a reflection thing, right? This is a reflection thing. Make no mistake about it. As the Hindus say, this is Maya. This is the world of illusion, right? Hollywood is about illusions. Making things appear, right? Making things appear as if they're one way when there's something else, right? Special effects. You dig what I'm saying? Special effects has been, progressing to become what? More realistic, or to appear more realistic, right? So manipulating your own reality, creating your own reality is about truth and standing on that truth, right? So Katt has long since established himself as a comedian or a comic, right, that is able to expose some things while delivering a message in a comical fashion. Because, laughter is good for the soul. You dig what I'm saying? Laughter is good for the soul. And if you don't think that the Most High, right, God, the cosmos, has a sense of humor, just look around. Just look around, right? But once again, you know what I mean? We don't want to, negate the fact that, this is how the year jumped off, right? So this is an extension or a continuation of, like I said, what you saw at the end of last year when Diddy got exposed, when, Russell Simmons got exposed, Tyler Perry, you know what I mean? Like, these are all names, and, I'm going to tie this into the whole Epstein thing. These are all names, right, that were supposedly on that infamous Epstein flight log list. You know what I'm saying? Once again, revealing truth, who these people really are, right? And what their practices are. You know what I mean? Hey man, some of the people that we hold near and dear, right, are some sick people. There's some sick individuals as far as their practices are concerned. Pedophilia, satanic rituals, and things of that nature. And I would even, all right, let's go into the whole satanic ritual thing, because you dig what I'm saying? At the lowest vibration, Satan, the devil, right, is just the shadow aspect of Yahweh, or what God is, or what, you know what I mean? Because we all have a higher self, right? That is your Godhood. That is your God self, right? So Satan, right, represents the shadow side of that, your animal self. You know what I mean? We talking about them lower chakras, the lower 3 chakras, especially the root chakra, which is the one that ties us or connects us to this physical 3D material reality. Okay. And if you don't learn, and this is the chakra that holds the significance of our animalistic desires. You dig what I'm saying? This is the side of you that when that person at work speaks to you that you don't really like, this is that side of you that on the inside says, fuck you, motherfucker. You dig what I'm saying? That's your devil. That's your devil self. Right? And if you don't work that out, right? If you don't show that area of who you are some love, right? Then these things usually manifest themselves in ways such as porn addictions, food addictions, drug and alcohol addictions. You know what I mean? Stuff that you don't want nobody to know about, right? You don't want nobody to know about that, right? You don't want nobody to know about that. You don't want nobody to know that you be on Pornhub, or, you know what I mean, in the middle of the night you getting up eating whole turkey sandwiches, drinking a 40 ounce and shit like that. You know, you don't want nobody to know that. You don't want nobody to know that you like white liquor in the evening when you get home from work. You dig what I'm saying? You don't want nobody to know that. You don't want nobody to know that you smoking that bong. You dig what I'm saying? But we gonna build and destroy this year. So what does that mean? That means that this year you're going to question your desires. Like me, myself personally, I can't even speak for anybody else, but me, myself personally, I'm at the point now where I'm questioning my desires, because I want to know, why is it that I like being in a euphoric state? Why is it that I like being in a euphoric state? I like being in a euphoric state. I like being in a place and space where I can hear entities, or I can hear sounds that I wouldn't normally hear. And, you know, you can call them auditory hallucinations. You can call them whatever. Right? Because one thing that we have to remember is that we are on a planet, right? We are on a planet or a plane of existence where there is no separation, right? We are all infinitely tied together by a web, an invisible web of consciousness, right? I told you we was going to get into it, man. I ain't been here in a while. I'm going to talk my shit. But yeah, we are all connected by this invisible web of consciousness, right? This inner or interconnecting, right, silver thread, right, that binds us all together, right? That person you don't like on your job is a reflection of you some kind of way, right? But if you've never examined that and you just said to yourself, you know what, I just don't like this motherfucker, and left it at that, you'll never get past that. You'll never become, right, You'll never become the observer. You'll never become the Heru, right? Because you want to rise above the ego. You want to rise above those animalistic emotions, those lower emotions. You want to rise above. See, the idea is to move that energy up the spine from the root chakra, right? The root, the sacral, so on and so forth, right? Because until you get to the heart, that is the only way you're going to ever understand your motives, right? Whatever those motives are, whatever those desires are, whatever those cravings are. You'll never leave those cravings and those desires, those lower vibrational aspects of yourself. You'll never leave those behind. Number one, right? You have to accept them. What you say? Yeah, you got to accept that fact. Let me sip me some water. You got to accept that, right? You got to accept that. This is who I am, right? And when you saw Katt Williams on that couch talking to Shannon Sharp, you was looking at a man who is totally embraced. All right, he has totally embraced and accepted who and what he is. Right? I love it. That was big Virgo energy, man. You dig what I'm saying? Katt Williams is a Virgo. I think he's born on 9/2 or something like that. But he has totally accepted who he is. He knows who he is. And he has no problem with who he is. When you accept and you totally know who you are, you can speak, you can talk your shit, right? Go to bed with a clear conscience. And if you just happen to slip off and transition, right, in the middle of the night or early morning, right, you disconnect from the body and you say, you know what, I don't want to be here no more. My job is done. There's nothing to regret. And your soul does not have to be trapped in a state of purgatory. You can move on and be spiritually promoted like you're supposed to be. Okay? That's a little tidbit for y'all. Right? That's a little tidbit for y'all. Now we're talking about detachment. I don't give a fuck about how you react to what I got to say, as long as I'm telling the truth. Right? That's what I need to be at peace with, the truth. Not your petty ass reactions or your petty ass feelings. He didn't care about that shit. That's why the views on that video are growing exponentially. I think the last time I heard, they were up to like 35 million views, right? That's more people. That means that more people saw that. That video was viewed more than the amount of people who are currently living in Australia. I just learned that out. I just learned that today. There's 25 million people in Australia, right? It has the least amount of people of any continent on the planet. But more people have seen the video of Katt Williams, right? Last I checked, it was 35 million, right? So what does that tell me? What does that tell me? What does that tell me? The Junkyard Jedi. What that tells me is that people have a thirst, a hunger for the truth. It's not just about exposing, right? Because we can sit here and go back and forth about who stole what, who took what from who. But the fact is that everything is an extension, or, you know, everything originated somewhere else, right? The heartbeat, if you want to be, if you want to be metaphysical about it, the heartbeat or the drum is an extension or a representation of the internal drum, which is the heartbeat, the rhythm of life, right? And the heartbeat is an extension of the Schumann resonance, which is the pulse or the heartbeat of the globe, the earth, Gaia, Mother Gaia, daughter Gaia, right? Let me cook. So everything is an extension of something else, right? The crab is an extension of the spider, right? But if you're not able to look toward nature, the Netaru, right? If you're not able to understand or even digest the idea of these nature spirits, then you'll never be able to guide your spirit back to joining the very essence of life on this planet, which you have to do when you transition. I'm giving you bars. I might go for 2 hours this afternoon. Fuck it. All right? Because everything is about progression, right? Last year was 2023. This year is 2024, right? Last year was a 7-year. This is an 8-year. So this is a progression, right? This is a progression. So if you didn't learn forgiveness last year, right? If you didn't learn self-sacrifice, if you didn't learn self-realization, if you didn't learn those things, right? Then as we progress, right? As we progress, you're going to find that you're going to have to go back. You're going to have to do a Sankofa ritual, right? If living your best life, if living your purpose is something that you want to do. Okay? And right now, what I want to do is take a little break. So let me pause for the cause. Be right back. Yes. I'm back after that little commercial break, which is really a restroom break, but we ain't gonna get into all that. When nature calls, you gotta answer. You dig what I'm saying? But you know what? I ain't gonna continue to beat a dead horse. We ain't gonna keep going on and on about this Katt Williams thing. All right, we're gonna move on. All right, we're gonna move on because here we are 9 days into the quote unquote new year, and some things have been happening. But let's talk about astrology. All right, namely Chinese astrology. But Junkyard Jedi, this ain't China. Why we got to talk about Chinese astrology? Yeah, we're just going to talk about it, all right? Because it's my shit. And we're going to talk about what I want to talk about. But no, Chinese astrology. This is the year of the wood dragon. Why is this important? Why does this even make a difference? Why is this even on our quote unquote radar? Well, in case you were curious, the reason that this is on our radar, okay, is because even though we don't live our lives to the letter, based on astrology, I have a quote, right? Only a fool don't know the difference between a tool and a jewel, right? And astrology is a tool, right? We don't necessarily govern or we don't necessarily live our lives to the letter when it comes to these different sciences, astrology, numerology, so on and so forth, right? We just use them as means of understanding the energy that is presently on the planet, taking full advantage of the energy, looking within, always going within, remember? Always going within to find out how we can align ourselves, right, with the energy that is presently on the planet, the energy that we are currently in order to maintain or elevate ourselves, right? So this year, as far as Chinese astrology is concerned, is the year of the wood dragon. Okay, so according to Chinese astrology, the dragon symbolizes power, nobleness, honor, luck, and success. All right. The dragon is a supernatural being with no parallel for talent and excellence. Okay. I don't know if anybody is familiar with Chinese astrology or Chinese mythology or mythology period. But if you follow or if you have some type of, if you have some type of familiarity with mythology as a whole, dragons, right, are the shit. You dig what I'm saying? Bruce Lee, one of his most infamous or famous movies or roles is what? The Last Dragon. Right? I think that's the one where he kicked what's the dude with the hairy chest? White dude with the hairy chest? Chuck Norris. Kicked Chuck Norris's ass. I think he broke his leg and his arm in the fight. You know what I mean? Something crazy. Old Chuck ain't stand a chance. You dig? Shout out to Chuck Norris, man. But he ain't stand a chance, man. I'm sorry. Bruce put it on him. You know what I'm saying? But the dragon is a very mystical, very powerful entity and energy in Chinese mythology and astrology. Okay. All right. The element associated with the 2024 dragon is strong yang wood. In the 5 elemental cycle, wood fuels the element of fire, and thus the quality of the dragon is enhanced. Be prepared for an unpredictable and volatile year ahead. Never a dull moment is the phrase for 2024. And as you can tell based off what we were just speaking on, the Katt Williams interview, the Epstein list, all of the calamities, the solar flares that are hitting the earth, right? Based on all of these things, never a dull moment. I like it. It kicked off, which was very interesting. If you are aware of how, last year ended. Kind of humdrum. You know what I mean? Wasn't a whole lot going on. But coming in to this calendar year, it was like boom, the door got kicked in, right? We got aliens. We got aliens in Miami. Let's talk about it. We got aliens in Miami. Y'all heard about that? Some 70 odd police respond, right, to a quote unquote fight amongst teenagers in Miami, Florida at the mall, right? All right, let me say this as a disclaimer, right? At some point, we're going to have to realize that we sit in a galaxy, right? We sit inside of a galaxy. This galaxy that we sit inside of, right, is merely just a piece of a cosmic puzzle, right? Or a cosmic thoroughfare, right? That is comprised and composed of many different beings, many different elementals, celestial bodies, right? Quote unquote heavenly bodies or entities or energies that have always been here, number one, right? They've always been here. This is nothing new. Okay? This is nothing new. And I think that general fear, right? General human. See, that's why humanity is such a fascinating thing, right? Because let's be real, within the human existence, right? There's this notion or this idea that we are the end all to be all. And on one aspect, we might be, correct about that. But on the other aspect, that is very egotistic, right? To think that, we are it, we the shit. A lot of us are adhering to the Christian Bible that says that we are made in the image and the likeness of God, and this kind of gives us a very big ego, right? But what you need to realize is that, outside of all that, right, there are dimensions, there are parallel universes that unlike us, right, that cannot physically escape or travel to spaces and places outside of the 3D reality. There are entities and energies that can do that freely, right? Shit, Rod Serling was talking about this with the Twilight Zone. You know what I'm saying? Right? Now, the conspiracy theorists or whoever might say, hey, this has Project Bluebeam written all over it. And maybe it does. Maybe this is part of the soft rollout. You know what I mean? To kind of get us looking in this direction, or this may align with what they refer to as predictive programming. I don't know, right? Maybe somehow or another, a portal was opened up, right? Because it was said that, these 10-foot tall beings, space creatures, aliens and whatnot, they were glitching. One report referred to them as shadow entities, right? All right. Now I just want to talk to my spiritual people. For a moment. I want to talk to the mediums, the psychics, the mystics, the empaths, right? As we move forward in this thing, if you are anything like myself, then you have been, aware of entities and energies that are not like us, that are not of this world, quote unquote. But it is what it is. Like I said, it would be ignorant to think that, humanity is on the high end of existence and there's nothing else outside of us. No. There are several entities and energies that have total access and free reign, right? And access in a free reign that you can only access through your out of body experiences, right? Your transcendental states, right? Where you escape the confines of the logical mind, right? Now these might be accessed through, the use of psychedelics and things of that nature. And these are all states that you can reach without, the uses of any external tools. But these tools, right? These sacred plants, these sacred medicines, they can assist in that. All right. But the goal, the end game, is to be able to do that shit without all of that stuff. Right. Now, this is part of the agreements we made, though. Right. We agreed to be locked down. Right. But to get back to your godhood, you're going to have to, at some point, it's just my opinion, at some point, you're going to have to be able to escape that whole left brain, linear, logical reasoning that, we've been programmed with. And that's not to say, once again, that's not to say that anything is wrong with that. There's no good or bad when it comes to left brain, right brain. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? You have to learn how to combine or conjoin both sides, right? This is the marriage of the bride and groom. You know what I mean? Both subconscious and conscious working together, or you working with your subconscious to bring, those things that are, unseen into your physical reality. You know what I mean? You want to make your dreams manifest. You have to have a partnership or a working relationship with your subconscious and your conscious mind. Okay. Tell them, Mike. Anybody who wants to see dreams come true, right? Anybody that wants to see things from their imagination unfold and exist in the quote unquote real world, you're going to have to access your subconscious mind, right? You're going to have to be like a child. You're going to have to do some daydreaming, right? You got to tap in to your inner child, right? But before you can do that, right? Building and destroying. This is the year of the 8. Before you can do that, you're going to have to accept your traumas, your childhood traumas. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to accept that, you might have been abused and it wasn't your fault, right? Going back to the whole Katt Williams things, he spoke a lot about, some hardships and some childhood traumas that he experienced, right? But something in him, right? The indisputable truth, right? Or the irrefutable truth that was in him wouldn't allow him to stay in that environment. He had to move, right? And luckily for him, you know what I mean? He got out early. He saw the discrepancies. You know what I mean? I for one, I tried to run away a couple of times as a kid. I would say probably about 3 times, and I can remember. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand that. I understand feeling like, or being in a place where you feel like you do not belong. Like, hey man, I don't belong here. I need to go. Right? Something in my spirit does not align with the activities in the daily operations that are happening in my home environment. I gotta get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Right? So with that being said, right, this whole thing with, I found it very interesting that, they said that it was teenagers, right? Teenagers have a natural rebellious spirit, right? And it's the curiosity of the world around them. It's the relationship of the world around them where they notice certain things that makes them react and act a certain kind of way. Now, these teens who were fighting, these teens who were, supposedly fighting with sticks and whatnot, you didn't get any pictures of them. You didn't see them, right? But supposedly there were, helicopters in the sky, right? There's cops all over the road. Not a lot of video footage. And I know what people are saying. Well, how come, there's no video footage? And I don't know. I don't know why there's not any video footage. Or the video footage that they do have is very grainy. You know what I mean? But once again, let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be real. We expect our phones, we expect our technology, right, to be top notch. It's stellar, right? You know what I mean? I got an iPhone 18. That, you know what I mean? I got 5 cameras in this bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I should be able to, film these entities. Cool, no problem. But we don't realize that we're still using 3-dimensional technology on interdimensional or multi-dimensional beings and entities, if these things are quote unquote real, right? So yeah, you might not be able to pick up the full visual or the full sighting of an intergalactic or multi-dimensional being, entity, creature, alien. You might not be able to pick that shit up, right? It's just I totally agree and totally I'm totally with the fact that my phone might not work right while trying to take a picture of something that is not, want to be seen, or you know what I mean, they're on a whole nother vibratory frequency. So you expecting, like, what are you expecting? You expecting to be able to take a picture? And my thing is, if these things want to be seen, if these things want to be exposed, they will be, right? But under no circumstances should you expect, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, right, what you may be seeing with your physical eye and how it appears on your phone may be 2 different things, right? And so the video footage was probably scrubbed. The video footage was probably confiscated. Nobody was hurt or injured as far as I'm aware of. You know what I mean? What happened inside the mall? The large police presence outside the Miami Mall was caused by a large brawl between teenagers on Monday night. Right? Well, large brawl. This is violence, right? This is a bunch of energy being expelled and exposed, right? So what's the lesson in this? What's the lesson in this, right? Because everything feeds something else. So the violence, right? The brawl could have opened up a portal. You never know. A man and a woman can open up a portal if they're in an intense love-making session, right? For all my people who are in spiritual relationships, you know what I mean, right? So these entities could have accessed, right, that particular area, because from the reports that I saw, or the ramblings that I heard on Twitter and whatnot, were that they were walking around like the entities were, or the aliens were walking around as if they didn't even know what happened. Like they just kind of boom, like popped up or came through, right? Like all of a sudden, you know what I mean, or whatever, you know what I mean. So let's not get too caught up in this. The airports were closed, you know what I mean. So if it wasn't, what they said it was, why is there a need to close the airports? Why was it such a need for so many police to show up on the scene and be present for some young people fighting? Like, I was a teenager many moons ago, and we got into it with some other guys and some other people, and it was a big brawl, and 77 cops didn't show up. You know what I'm saying? So let's not act like there's not a level of high strangeness that is not associated with this particular incident, because it is, right? And it just seems a bit peculiar. I'm not saying that, what actually was reported was what took place, but none of that matters. What matters, in my opinion, what matters in my book, right, based off my observation, is that, they're massaging, right? They're massaging us with the idea, with the notion, right, that we are not alone. You dig what I'm saying? We are not alone in that. Tell them, Mike, we are not alone in that. These entities, or these aliens, these creatures, they're moving us closer and closer to a place and space of full disclosure, where it won't be any more confusion. It won't be any more elephant in a room type business going on. Like, you'll see one and you'll be like, you know what? I knew it. Or you'll see one and you'll be freaked the fuck out. You know what I mean? But I think the closer and closer we get to the summertime, especially after the eclipse, once we move closer and closer to the eclipse, we will have more and more news about, cloaked airships and things in that nature, and portals being activated, and, these energy vortexes opening up. You know what I mean? Because once again, according to astronomy, or according to science, we're in the Milky Way, right? Earth is just one stop, right? Earth is among the planets, right? Earth has an existence that is 13 billion years old, right? It's a long time. You think for once, you know what I mean, some entities, some aliens or whatever, some creatures didn't stop here to fuel up or get some gas, get some gold, some water or something? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a good chance that, something like this could be possible. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it ain't. I'm not saying that it is. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, how does this impact who and where I am in my journey, right? Maybe this is one of those situations where it's like, you know what? There's a certain percentage of the population who, they can handle this. There's another percentage of the population that cannot handle it. Some of us have alien DNA, right? If you believe, or you give any credence to, the Anunnaki philosophy, you know what I mean? The Anunnaki ideology or whatever. If you don't, cool. If you do, great. Either way, it don't matter, right? Period, point blank. This is a stop in the galaxy. This is a place in the universe. And with that being said, entities, have been here, will be here, and they ain't going nowhere. You dig what I'm saying? There's some entities inside the core of the earth. So while we're looking at the sky, you know what I mean? We're just catching glimpses of what's actually inside of the earth. You know what I mean? These beings, these entities that have been here, that have been mixing and mingling among us for years and years and years. All right. We're the only ones. Humans are the only ones that are content with being ignorant of these of the presence of these aliens. Excuse me. Yeah. You know, but it's all good. It's all good. Shout out to my man Rob Blackstone. He said, if these aliens ain't dropping gold coins, fuck them. They ain't got nothing for me. I love it. Yeah. Hey, I ain't got no problem with them. You know what I'm saying? Bring me the bag. Bring me some of that goddamn. Bring me some moon rocks, some gold moon rocks, something. You know what I mean? Give me something. You know what I mean? This human shit is hard. You dig what I'm saying? But anyway, man, what else we got going on? Got a lot of solar flares. The sun, right? Sun been cutting up, man. About a week ago, there was a very, very huge, what is it, X5 category solar flare that hit the earth. You know what I mean? Causing certain things to happen. Cosmic wind, solar wind hitting the planet, right? What does this mean, Junkyard Jedi? Shit, I don't know. No. What it means is, right? As we continue to move closer and closer to a, if I'm not mistaken, we're inside of a solar cycle, right? Where the sun is, quote unquote, warming up, heating up, getting more and more active. What does this mean for us? Well, like I said, be prepared to see some things that you haven't seen, and to kind of be left like, what? Like, you know what I mean? One of the things that left me like, what? Last year was there was a clip of the president going around, right? I think he was, being interviewed. It was something or another. And he stroked his chin, or he took his finger and he poked his chin, and the dent in his face, right? The indentation that he made with his finger didn't go anywhere, right? It stayed right there the entire time. Yeah. Hey folks. We are in it, man. We are being exposed to a lot of shit, right? A lot of shit that some of us can handle and some of us cannot, right? Once again, this year's the year of the 8, right? The year of the 8. What does that mean, Dave? What does that mean, Junkyard Jedi? That means only pay so much attention to the stuff that's going on around you, right? Your inner world is what creates your reality, right? They want to create their reality to keep you caught in the mix, to keep you caught in the Maya, right? They want to keep you as Thomas Anderson, right? Because they're fearful of you actually becoming Neo. They're fearful of you becoming the one, right? They're fearful of you activating the junk DNA inside of you. That's what they're fearful of. Secret. That's the secret. You know what I mean? Fuck what Oprah's talking about. That's, you know what I mean? That's the real color purple. The real color purple is that crown chakra, right? An activated crown chakra. That's what they, you know what I mean? That's why purple is considered to be royal, right? Because when you activate that crown chakra, now you're moving up and out onto another plane of quote unquote existence or consciousness, right? We all exist on different levels of consciousness, right? So the crown is the highest, right? Then you get into the oversoul and things of that nature. Now, right? Now, with that activated junk DNA, now you can talk to your star family. Right? But some of us are so stuck in who we are here and what we are here. You know what I mean? We're African, we're black, we're indigenous, we're African American, we aboriginal. We got all these different names for ourselves. Caucasian, Latino, Not realizing that, you know what I mean, you're going to have to extend a little bit beyond that, right? And that means opening yourself up to those possibilities. And that is scary for some of us. That's scary, right? Mama never told you was a star seed, right? Because mama didn't know. Grandmama never told you was a star seed because grandmama didn't know, right? But now the possibility, right, or the reality of who you are and where you come from goes beyond Mississippi. It goes beyond North Carolina. It goes beyond Jamaica. It goes beyond, these planetary places that we feel like we only exist in, or that we've only existed in, right? According to some ideologies and philosophies, in order for you to get to where you are now presently, you had to exist in every physical state of existence. That means, you had to be an atom. You had to be you had to be a subatomic particle. You had to be water. You had to be a plant. You had to be an invertebrate. Now, I'm not saying that I believe that, but I can see how, if this thing is about the creator, quote unquote God, getting to know itself, that it had to exist as everything, right? It had to exist as electricity, had to exist as plant life, had to exist as smoke, fire, wind, water, wood, right? Because we're talking about natural things. Excuse me. When you transition, when you make that great leap from, quote unquote life to death, right? Or from existence to non-existence, then all things will be revealed, right? You will probably see yourself as all of those things that you used to exist as. You know what I mean? To make it plain, right? Once you escape the personality, right? If I'm not mistaken, Hinduism and Buddhism speak about the law of detachment, or anatta, the non-self, right? When you escape these things, when you become, right, or you're actually outside of the body and you are rejoining or conjoining back with source, now it becomes plain to you, like, oh shit, I wasn't none of that shit in the first place. I had nothing to be afraid of. Death wasn't nothing but a doorway. Life is nothing but one long ass lesson, right? One long lesson, right? That has ups and downs and cycles, right? That you need to learn from, right? But attaching, right, ourselves to the physical existence, identifying with the physical existence is as if it is all that is and all that ever will be, will keep you in a state of fight or flight, right? It'll keep you on the edge. It'll keep you trying to survive. It'll keep you being scared to die, right? Which in the end, on the opposite end, will have you scared to live. I hate to, talk in circles, right? But going back to how I began this conversation talking about Katt Williams, he was dropping some gold nuggets. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's transforming. You know what I mean? He's transforming. He's saying some things, and he's doing some things, and he's exposing some things, and he's representing some things, which shows me that he's transformed. His tour, the current tour that this man is on, is the Dark Matter tour. You dig what I'm saying? You don't just wake up one day as a comedian and say, you know what? I think I'm going to call my tour The Dark Matter. No. This man is into some shit. You know what I'm saying? He's being exposed to some material and some information, right? That is above and beyond, what a lot of us are even willing to consider. So the Dark Matter tour, or the Dark Matter, the unknown, right? Getting back to the triple dark blackness. Hold on, let me talk my shit. Getting back to the triple dark blackness, right? Means that you ain't scared of death, right? Because death in one end is birth on the other end. And all of us began in darkness, right? A seed grows in what? Darkness. The baby grows what? In darkness. Your thoughts, right? The universe is mental, right? You look out into the night sky, that shit dark, right? And what is matter? Matter. The mother. Uh-oh. 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 Shout out to the brother Rod Hayes. He refers to, quote unquote God as Big Mama. Big Mama is Black Mama Universe. Shout out to Sister Myra. Right? Another great teacher, master teacher. Big Black Universal Mama. The mother to us all. Right? Now we getting into, man, dare I say he's going the route of a Dick Gregory. Dave Chappelle also is a master at expanding us through the medium of comedy, right? You make a motherfucker laugh, man, you can open them up to a lot of possibilities, right? They playing the Joker out the deck, right? That Joker is a powerful card, right? That Joker can go before the king and queen and talk all kind of shit and not get his head chopped off, right? That's why I try to crack a few jokes when I'm talking, excuse me, when I'm talking my shit, right? Because a lot of hard facts or a lot of truths, even absolute truths, are more palpable when they can be relayed and conveyed with a measure of comedy, right? A measure of laughter, a measure of humor, right? Because now you're getting into the heart space. Uh-oh, you're getting into the heart chakra. Uh-oh, that's big Venus energy. You dig what I'm saying? Love and laughter go hand in hand, right? Laughter is a product of feeling, the emotions. Now we talking about mama. We're talking about Big Mama. This is the year of the 8, building and destroying. So in order to build something new, in order to build something, in order to renew something, right? In order to renew ourselves, we're going to have to get into our emotions. The last full moon was in Cancer. That full moon was strong as I don't know if anybody else was going through the fields, but I damn sure know I was going through the fields, right? And this new moon is in Capricorn, right? Mercury is currently in Capricorn, so that makes conversations a little bit easier. There's going to be a lot of people starting podcasts around this time of the year, right? It's going to be a lot of people speaking truth to power around this time of the year. It's going to be a lot of people celebrating book releases. It's going to be a lot of people talking their shit this time of year, right? This Mercury, quote unquote, retrograde is a little bit different because Capricorn offers us stability and security and confidence. You know what I mean? Not an egotistic Aries type of confidence, but a confidence that is rooted in security. You know what I mean? I know who I am. I know what my message is. And I don't have to be afraid of talking my shit. That's why it's so prevalent that Katt did his thing right now, right? Because we are in this energy, we are in this this current stage of, you know, being secure. Who am I? You know, owning who you are. Own who you are. You know what I mean? When you're able to own who you are, now you have practiced the law of detachment. Right? Own who you are. That's why I don't get caught up, and I'm going to talk on this and I'm going to close with this. That's why I haven't been getting caught up in the divisive conversation that is going on all over TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Are we black? Are we African? Are we indigenous? Are we aboriginal? I don't get caught up in that, folks. I really don't. Because at the core of my being, I know that I'm something much older than what is even an African, right? We are talking about terms, right? And I think I can talk about this, right? As a person who you know what I mean, has a very close relationship with language, the English language in particular, right? I am an English teacher. So I understand that our language is very deceptive. It's very deceiving. It causes us to put a cap on who we are because we have these definitions that someone else has passed down to us. But if you are a melanated being on this planet, then all that means is that you have an origin or a definition that extends way back beyond the confines of the current language that you are now subject to. You can't define who I am by calling me an African American, but African American, right? Just like black, just like Negro, just like Aboriginal, just like Choctaw or Indigenous, is just a word, right? Who I really am, right? Who I really am extends far beyond all of that. I am indigenous to this planet. I am natural to this planet, right? This world is ours, right? We in America as black, quote unquote, black people, we are still finding out who we are, what we are, right? So many people came down on Raven Simone, right? Because she didn't adhere to being African American. And I found that to be very fascinating, right? Because once again, to get to the point where you are now, it took so many generations. And within generations, right, there were migrations, right? Let's be real. There were migrations, There were integrations. There were mutations. No, for real. Right? There was a blending. Right? There was a blending. It took a lot for you to get to this point. It took a lot to make you. That's what makes the American, shout out to Bobby Hemmett. That's what makes the American Negro so special. Shout out to Bobby Hemmett, man. The master teacher. Shout out to Panic. I had a dream about Panic the other night, folks. Me and Panic was sitting across from each other having a good ass conversation. Had a big ass spliff. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if it was lit. Shay, I don't even know if it was lit. The conversation was lit, but we had a big ass spliff that I would just pass it back and forth. But like I said, I don't even remember it being lit. It wasn't no fire, it wasn't no smoke. You know what I mean? But me and him we was wrapping it up. Shout out to Panic, man. But anyway, that's why I don't get caught up in these divisive ass conversations, right? It's no different than and I'm still going. That's how I know I'm channeling. But it's just like the conversation between black men and black women right now. This shit is nuts. When are we going to realize that we are reflections of each other? And that's why I say, and I still say, that, hey, look, I got white friends. You know what I mean? I got white people that I like, Caucasians that I like. But guess what? If I really like them and they really fuck with me, then they gonna understand my theory and my philosophy that we as indigenous black people need at least, shout out to Dr. Umar, I'm gonna say it 3 times, at least 100 years to our motherfucking selves. We need at least 100 years to ourselves. Right? So we can figure out who the fuck we are, right? Ethnically, culturally, individually, all of that, right? You look at excuse me, you look at cultures like Asian cultures, right? Tibet, China, you know what I mean? These particular places that were allowed this uninterrupted existence. You know what I mean? You go back in history, you look at these dynasties, right? You look at the Egyptian Kemetic dynasty before these people were infiltrated, before these people were invaded, before these people were, you know what I'm saying? Shay, y'all hear that thunder? Y'all, you dig what I'm saying? We opening up portals in this bitch. You look at these places. You look at these cultures. You look at these civilizations that were allowed to exist, right? Uninterrupted. And look at their achievements, right? Which once again goes back to my point, which makes the American Negro so important in the elevation, not only of consciousness, but in the elevation of humankind. That's why we are so important, because you look at the time period right after slavery over here in this country. That was the time period when we had the most inventors, even in the face of lynchings, right? Even in the face of like supreme discrimination. The Reconstruction era was very rough, very hard, right? But we were thriving. You had people like Garrett Morgan, Benjamin Banneker, so on and so on. You know what I'm saying? Louis Pasteur. You dig what I'm saying? You had the Harlem Renaissance in the 1930s. On the flip side of things, in the 1920s and 30s, the Great Depression was going on in America, but we were still doing our thing. We were still working our magic. We were still working our mojos. That's why we are so important, right? That's why it's such a rush and a push to figure out who the fuck we are, because over across the globe, let me talk my shit, over across the globe, you got Palestinians and Israelis saying that we are the original Hebrews, right? We that lost tribe of Judah. We represent the very essence of the quote unquote creator, right? That means we represent life and death. The nine ether. Shout out to Dr. Malachi York, man. I can't never forget where I got my start. Yeah, I'm a country boy. You dig what I'm saying? I'm a southerner at heart. I was born on the land of the great state of Louisiana. You dig what I'm saying? But it was that information by Dr. York, right? It was that information by Dr. York that let me know that our existence, our identity extends far beyond what we know it to be. But this has never been about supremacy, right? It's never been about supremacy, because everybody knows that one day all things will be revealed. So we have to embrace it all. We have to embrace it all, right? We have to embrace the fact there are some of us who look like us who ain't got nothing to do with us. They've been bought and sold. Yeah, Katt Williams, he might have been spitting the truth, but guess what? That ain't your life. Your life is to find out who you are. What's your purpose? Is there a karmic debt to be paid to quote unquote melanated people on the planet? Yep. It has to turn back. It has to turn back around, right? But another hard motherfucking fact of life is that you might not see it happen. You may not ever witness that, right? But in the meantime, in between time, you find out what your sole purpose is on this planet, and you live that shit out. You live that out. That is who you are. Your search for truth, your absolute truth, is finding out who you are, what your mission in life is. Give a fuck about how big your booty is. You dig what I'm saying? How good your head is and all this dumb shit. The sexy reds and the ice spices of the world. Those people have been bought and sold, folks. It is what it is. It is what it is. It's a hard motherfucking fact of life. Because some of us know people. Grew up with some of them people. You know? We know people who are NPCs. We got family members who are NPCs. And some of us are NPCs to other people. But guess what? That don't matter. If you're not here to make your dreams come true, if you're not here to see your soul purpose be achieved, you're just taking up space. You probably scared of the aliens. You probably scared of dying. You probably scared of another pandemic. Me? Shit. I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I don't give a fuck. I'll be back if I need to. I already made it up in my mind. I'll be back if I need to. Right? Because even though my voice may not be the loudest, even though what I'm saying may not resonate with the masses, it's my truth. And I'm okay with that. Right? I'm okay with that. Detachment. Build and destroy. Right? person I am today, look, the person I am I ain't even the same person I was last year. You dig what I'm saying? What does that mean, Junkyard Jedi? That means that my change, my evolution has nothing to do with this motherfucking Gregorian calendar. I exist outside of time and space. Right? Now, does that mean that I'm above the law or some dumb shit like? No. I got a job that I have to show up for at a particular time. But guess what? I decide when I want to jump in and outside of the Matrix. By the way, there's a new Matrix movie coming out. You know, you dig what I'm saying? Because being Neo don't stop. Fuck you mean? They showing you in the movies. Being Neo don't stop. Being the one don't. You the one, so what? What the fuck does that mean? Right? In the latest Matrix movie, Neo had to be motherfucker reminded. That motherfucker had to be woken up again. That's why these things like Katt Williams, that's why these things like the mall situation with the 10-foot aliens, these are reminders. This shit been going. Look, they've been talking about these beings and these entities for years. Y'all act like I said, y'all act like Rod Serling wasn't doing this shit back in the 60s. Y'all act like motherfucking George Lucas wasn't talking about Star Wars in the 70s. This ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing new. We've been here. They've been here. Some of us, look, can I give y'all a personal testimony? Let me give you a personal goddamn testimony, man. I've been seeing ships. Oh hell yeah! I've been seeing ships. I've been seeing ships. I know a cloaked ship in a cloud when I see one. But once again, this thing is about energy, frequency, and vibration. So if these entities don't want you to see them, if these ships don't want to be on your frequency or radar, you ain't gonna see them motherfuckers. The same way, if you don't open your heart to love, you will never experience the best life has to offer. You know? We can sit here and we can talk about the astrological thing, the zodiac chart. We could talk about Kabbalah. We can talk about these different world religions, right? These different modalities when it comes to spirituality and all of that shit. But the fact of the matter is, your participation, your role has to be personal. That's it. Right? You have to be willing to become that star, that stellar man or woman, right? That divine masculine or feminine. You have to recognize who and what you are, right? Accept that. And if you want to improve on that and expand on that, you will. The information is just the information, right? Only a fool don't know the difference between a tool and a jewel, right? The apotheosis process is a very personal thing, right? Katt Williams showed us that. He spoke about his childhood traumas. He spoke about some of the hardships that he had to endure, right? Anytime you hear any of these successful quote unquote stars talk, celebrities talk, they're always 9 times out of 10, all of them have some type of sob story. You know, what we call a sob story. What is it, Junkyard Jedi? It's the hero's journey. It's the hero's journey. I made a reference to Star Wars. I love me some goddamn Star Wars. Every hero in the Star Wars journey, right? They had to go through some rough shit. You know? The very role of Luke Skywalker shows you that. They had to go through some rough shit. Being separated from his sister. You know what I mean? You got a father. Darth Vader. Dark father. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Darth Vader, like, you better not work for this motherfucker and fuck up. You know what I mean? He gonna force choke the shit out your ass. That's your daddy. Right? But, you know, what does Darth Vader represent? He represents that male masculine energy that just, you know what I'm saying, that is very testosterone driven. It's very dark in nature. It's abusive. It's relentless. You know what I mean? Like, he don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean? You know? But Luke had to go within, right? What did Yoda say? He was going to balance the force. You have to balance that. You have to balance who you are. We all have these ugly aspects of who we are. And, you know what I mean? Maybe you'll never get over something. Or, you know, it'll always be hard for you. We're imperfect beings. There's no such thing as perfection. Perfection is a perception thing. Or the things in life that I did and I wish I could have took back. Oh, hell yeah. But guess what? How you do the alchemy, how you perform the inner alchemy is loving yourself through it all. Because love is the highest vibration and frequency. Right? So above the Katt Williams story, above the 10-foot tall aliens in Miami, above the calamities, above the divisive conversations about black versus African, above the Epstein list, above all of that is your purpose. Are you going to serve that purpose? Are you going to be who you're supposed to be? Or will you be trapped in this purgatory? Excuse me. Will you be trapped in this reality, this purgatory type reality that was given to you and is still going to be given to you? By this time next month, there'll be another story that I have just as many views or just as much traction as the Katt Williams story or the war in Palestine or P. Diddy or whatever, you know. But hey, man, I appreciate y'all rocking out with your boy, letting me talk my shit, man. Ooh, wait. That power hour turned in almost into 2 hours. But I guess I had a lot to goddamn talk about, man. This has been a bona fide, functified, personified episode of the one and only Dignified Bastard Podcast. Yeah. That's right. Brought to you by the law of detachment. Right? The law of detachment doesn't mean that you don't own anything. It just simply means that nothing owns you. You dig? Nothing on me no more, man. Shit. We out here. Man, my government name, David W. Harris. If you want a copy of my new book of poetry entitled, Moonchild Manifesto, go to Amazon.com and type in David W. Harris, okay? That price is $22. If this show has touched your spirit in any way and given to your life, you can give to mine by Cash Apping your boy at $Uncrowned King 77. Man, as always, man, I love y'all. I appreciate the support. I'll be back next month. You did? Today's episode has been brought to you by the Buddhism philosophy of Anatta, the no self. All right. Peace, man. We out.